Hello, everyone. I'm Maria Wellich. I am the marketing director here at the Schweinfurt. I am here with one of our very talented instructors from Quilting by the Lake, Deborah Boschert. And she's going to talk about her class, which is Photo Inspired Art Quilt Collage, which is happening the first week of Quilting by the Lake. And she's going to tell you why it is a great class for you to sign up for today. Deborah?
Awesome. Thank you, Maria. Yes, absolutely. I'm eager to tell you about this workshop, which is just one of my favorites to teach. So it's titled Photo Inspired Art Quilt Collage. And here is an example of one of my art quilt collages that is based on the ideas that we are going to be exploring. So the title of this piece is New Zealand Bar. And this is the photo that I used for inspiration for this piece. So the idea behind this workshop is not that we are making direct copies of photos, but instead that we're really looking at these photos for inspiration for color, pattern, shape, and composition. And we will work through all of those different elements. So here's that quilt again. Again, thinking about the idea of using that photo on the right as inspiration for color, pattern, shape, and composition. So I make what I call art quilt collages, and that is the technique that we are going to be working on at Quilting by the Lake. And this is all about layers of fabric, paint, and stitch. So here's another example from my body of work. This is unoccupied. And in this detail, you can see some of those layers of fabric, paint, and stitch. I love doing stitch both by machine and with hand embroidery, though machines are optional for this workshop. So either you can do some machine stitching or you can just explore some hand embroidery. And this quilt was based on this photograph. So this same idea of using interesting photos and exploring the colors, shapes, patterns, and compositions to create your own original compositions. So we're also going to be doing lots of printmaking and surface design. So let me show you just a little hint of some of those techniques that we'll be exploring. We'll be doing some printing with found objects. We will make some foam stamps. This is a super easy technique that I love. Here's some little small bird stamps that I made. Here is another foam stamp, a fork, knife, and spoon motif, because you might need that. We'll also be talking about handwriting on fabric, and we will be doing some freezer paper stencils, which is another opportunity to use your photos as inspiration. So this photo on the left, I just love those wonky chairs that I happened upon. And you can see that this chair in the middle of the photo becomes this freezer paper stencil. And then here is that stencil printed on cloth, which can then be incorporated into an art quilt collage. So we're going to be using the technique of raw edge fused applique, which is what I use for all of my work. So heat activated fusible web, which is totally improvisational and freeing, and you can just cut any shape and layer any kind of interesting selections of fabric. So I love raw edge fused applique. Here's another example of a photo-inspired art quilt collage. Here's the detail where you can see those layers. And then here is the photo that inspired this particular composition. So any photo can be really full of inspiration. And on your supply list, I'll talk about what kinds of photos you'll want to bring. Let's look at just a few in-progress student work from this workshop that I've taught in the past. Here's an example where you can really see the surface design coming together. Here's another example where you can really see that we're not making a direct copy of the photos. We're using the photos as inspiration. And then I also thought it might be fun to just show you a little bit of what I'm working on right now. So this is the photo that I am experimenting with right in my studio right now. In fact, you can see it on the wall behind me. So here I am in my studio. That is the street photo that you were just looking at, and here is my interpretation of it on my design wall. So I'm hoping that it's done by July and I can bring it with me to the workshop and share it with everyone.
Well, this is just fascinating. I never thought of how you could use a photograph to turn it into something totally different.
Yes,
And
exactly.
that
Exactly.
is so cool. I think this is going to be a great class.
I'm really
And
excited. Yeah, I love the process, and boy, the inspiration just keeps bubbling up.
oh, that's great. Well, Deborah's class is 5 days, Monday through Friday, the first week of QBL, which is July 20th to the 24th, 2026. And you can sign up today for this class by going to quiltingbythelake.com and sign up today. It's going to be a blast, I can tell.
Yeah, we're gonna have a great time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.